Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm the newer children's buyer here at Baker Bookhouse, and I'm going to be reviewing some of our new titles that have come in. All right, to start off, we're going to start off with Crystal Bowman's new book, My Arms Will Hold You Tight. This is a beautifully illustrated book on the love of a parent to their child. Again, beautiful illustrations. Next off, we have Hello Little Dreamer. This comes in a board book as well as a picture book. This is by Kathie Lee Gifford. She always has beautifully written books. This one just talks about on always dreaming and the different dreams that kids have as they're growing up. All right, Amy Parker has her new book, God is Hope. Again, beautifully illustrated, just talking about how, especially in these times, that God is always there and that we can always have hope through Him. Very cute illustrations. All right, so this next one is called There Are Lions in This Book. Again, this is a super cute book where the narrator is a mouse, and constantly through the book he's warning you not to turn the page. Don't keep reading. There are lions in this book. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's super cute story of David in the lion's den. Very, very cute, very worth it. After 59 years, Bearstein Bears are still coming out with their new books. Their latest here is Learn About Heaven. We all have had questions about what heaven is like, and this just beautifully illustrates, kids have these questions too. What is heaven like? We don't really know, we just have ideas. This next series, there's several books in the series, I just grabbed a couple. They are the Very Best Bible Story series by Tim Thornborough. They're culturally accurate in their visual depiction, and they're just very cute, rhythmically told Bible stories. Here we are. All right, next up we have Bob Goff, who wrote Everybody Always. He now has his ones for kids. This just kind of goes through and tells 40 different inspiring stories of just everyday life and how kids can enjoy the little things on a daily basis. All right, so this one is The Quokkas, the Snails, and the Land of Happiness. This is a very cute book that talks on, the difference of choosing to be happy and choosing to be sad. The snails are super cute. They're the ones that are sad, and the quokkas are happy. The quokkas teach the snails what it means to be happy and how they can choose to do that instead of being sad all the time. All right, The Secret of the Hidden Scrolls has their final book in the series, The Final Scroll. This transports the kids into biblical times during the time of the resurrection and everything that entails. They get to witness Jesus walking to the cross and sacrificing and rising again. All right, Dead Sea Squirrels just came out with their two newest series. Both of these books play off of each other in terms of storyline. The squirrels get kidnapped by a black market architect, and the kids convince their parents to go to Bethlehem in order to save them, but their parents just think it's an educational trip. So it's kind of fun to see all the trouble that the squirrels get into. All right, Superbook has another book out as well called Miracles of Jesus. They did just come out with their movie version of this as well. So this is really fun to pair with the movie because then the kids can follow along or read after they watch it and just kind of see the similarities and the differences. Okay, Marty Makowski just came out with a new book called Wonderful. This is his second one to the Ology. This talks on the Psalms, and it just teaches kids how to worship and praise God through each and every one of the Psalms. Okay, Karen Kingsbury has her third one in the series, in her kids series called Never Grow Up. This one talks on the Baxter family and the kids specifically. And this just kind of talks about the difficulties of changing. The kids are at a point in their lives where things are changing constantly, and they don't want to grow up. And the little one thinks it's possible to not grow up, and the older ones know better, but even they don't want to change and grow up. All right, Creative God, Colorful Us by Trilla Newbell. This is a great story for 9 to 12-year-olds. It talks about how a time where people want to be different. Correction, it talks about a time where people want to be the same, but God created us all different, and those differences actually help us, not hinder us. All right. Beautiful Girlhood by Mabel Hale is a beautiful book that just teaches, again, the 9 to 12-year-old girls how to be a woman of God and what that really means. All right, I absolutely love this book. It's 52 Bible words every kid should know. Growing up in the church, I hear words all the time that I still don't know the meaning to. And this is just a really cool book to have on hand. All right, I absolutely love this picture book here by Jill Roman Lord. It's Dream Big, My Precious One. Beautifully illustrated, again, talking about how kids just are constantly dreaming of what they can become and the different things that they can do. Beautifully illustrated. Flashlight Night by Elizabeth Hasselbeck is also a really cute book. It talks about how God is always there, even if we can't see him. The children in the book have a chalkboard that they actually write their different prayers on. And every so often they take a flashlight to it and just to see which prayers have been answered and which ones haven't yet. All right. Stay This Way Forever by Lindsay Davis is, again, just a beautiful book. This one talks about how the mom doesn't want the kids to grow up, but they have to. So she says, stay curious, stay creative, stay thoughtful and loving, and always keep a smile. Right? Little Ewe was the first book that I personally found that tells the story of the lost sheep through the perspective of the sheep. She goes on this numerical adventure that gets her further and further away from the rest of the herd. When she realizes that she no longer knows where the shepherd is, she calls out and he finds her. It's a beautiful story about how, the shepherd will always come wrap his arms around us if we call out to him. Right? God Gave Us Prayer by Lisa Burgeon is a beautiful book that teaches kids the different ways that we can pray and the different things that we can pray for. Every so often it has a little prompt in there too for parents to kind of lead their kids in prayer and how to do it. Beautifully illustrating cute animals too. Once Upon Another Time isn't necessarily a biblical book, but it can still be very, very much used in teaching in biblical ways. It just talks about how the world has changed vastly since humans have kind of changed the way that we view nature. And it just tries to encourage kids to get out in nature and to enjoy it, enjoy the creation that God has made. Okay. Tani's New Home is now a picture book version of the chapter book that was released last year. This just kind of talks about the perseverance of having to change homes and go from one place to another and the difficulties that can cause and how through God we can still get through those hard times. Right. Lullaby Prayers is a really cute book that turns nature sounds into a bedtime lullaby. Again, through the perspective of, it's God's lullaby to us. Right. Candace's Playful Puppy by Candace Bure is a beautiful book about responsibility. The little girl in the book has to learn all that a puppy entails, all of the trouble that can cause, but also the joy. Again, nothing necessarily biblical about this, but it does teach kids responsibility. Love Gay by Quinoa Aragon is a beautiful book that talks about the resurrection all the way from the beginning of the world, from Adam and Eve. Now, this one is geared towards older kids because there are a lot of darker illustrations. but it just goes through how, you know, the world was dark, but then Jesus came and made it all bright again. When I Pray for You by Matthew Turner just kind of talks about how, you know, kids can pray too and that they can make a difference and what difference that can make in other people's lives. Okay, I have one last book for you guys. It's Jill Lord's very new picture book. It just released this week. This is called You're More Than a Sprout. It talks about how we always have great plans for ourselves, but it doesn't always match up the plans that God has for us. And even though we might not like it sometimes, God's plans are always better, and He knows what's best for us. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or email me. My email is jessica.moore, M-O-O-R-E, @bakerbookhouse.com. Feel free to come find me and I'll help you out.